And this is why so many players shank, because as the club comes past parallel to the ground and starts going up, what happens? The club falls that way. What happens? Everybody reacts. 99.9% of people react. So as it's going back, I can't shank it, but that's, you know, basically what they do. They react. So that movement, and they shank. But what we've got to do is say, right, if that natural force is always there, why don't I use it? So when the club starts falling, what does a good pitcher and a good chipper do?
Go forward.
Yeah, they move this left shoulder to put the club in a position where now it's useful to me. This way. Useful. And as it's going to fall to the ground, I keep this left shoulder moving around and up to counteract and use these forces with an equal and opposite reaction in force. That's laws of physics, equal and opposite reaction in force. So moving the club around where it's useful, letting it fall and moving that left shoulder. So from there I move it around and let it fall. And you can see there is not a lot of energy in that, there is just momentum. So now, because I'm moving the club into a position, I'm now allowed to use my wrist correctly, and I can get more speed without effort. So moving the club correctly so I can get the club working in the correct path, plane, impact condition. So I move it around, and that left shoulder moves around, so I virtually let the club fall and move with it. Okay? So I'm using the club's energy. I'm not muscling it. And what happens to most people, as we've said, unfortunately, as the club gets to this point, they react. And especially if, like I said to you this morning, this shoulder isn't stable, it's back here, it can't support the club very well. It reacts. Whereas if it's strong and I can support it, I can then move it. It's not coming over the top. And that's why so many amateurs come over the top. Why? Because they know the ball is out in front of them, and as the club starts falling there, they say, well, the ball's not there, it's there. So they feel that force and they move the force into a position where they think they can get it back to the ball. That's why they're not really coming over the top. They're reacting to a force, so they're not using it. So they're moving it out, and then, of course, as they move it out and it's steep, they can't get the club working correctly through.